here at Predecessor Nations League want to state the high regard that we hold for impartiality and making sure these sets are as competitive as possible with no inherent advantage to either side. We will always approach our games with integrity, objectivity, and 100% transparency. With that out of the way, let's get into that server spin, baby. Gonna have to see what the production. Wrong wheel. Okay, we'll switch. Oof, that's rough. Anyway, back to the wheel here. So gonna be seeing that server spin. Spin that wheel. Let's get it going. Oh boy, we are off to a start here, ladies and gentlemen, and MBs. Spin. Where will it go? No one knows, and seems that. Oof. Is there a certain role you want to see prioritized for either of these teams? Do we want to make sure that we get a certain player on their top prized pick, or is it just kind of reckless abandon?
I say I picked high value on the support. Specifically Decker. So if Decker comes out ahead, or I'm expecting her to be picked up within the first two draft sequences here. But if not, I would be very surprised if they let her slip further than that.
And I feel like, to be honest, not having Lauber for that match is actually a huge blow, I feel like, in the picks and bans for Canada. Because usually when you have Lauber, you're immediately forced to respect the Severog. And that kind of constrains a lot, like, how you can draft. Because it's not really something you want to ban first. It's not something that, if you're not confident yourself with, to pick. But if Lauber has his Severog, you know that it's going to be, tough. And so here, Canada is going to remove the Terra. Like I was talking about Jen, liking, the Calgary, but also the Terra recently, and maybe Canada is like, okay, Jen, take your Calgary, we don't care, but at least don't pick a real pick, please. That would be the Terra, so we're gonna remove that from the pool.
To be fair, Severog in these last changes has gotten a bit of a buff, so it doesn't feel quite as bad, but you are right that it always feels good when you're able to knock off something that you normally have to kind of go out of your way to ban, because it's always the bans you want to see that are both comfort picks and also meta staples, and when you have one that you have to choose between those two options, never feels good. Instead, meta staples indeed. Terra, Rampage off the map here, leaves Canada open with that first pick. It's gonna be Zarus. Kind of a return back to form of that PCC 8, but with good reason. It's a good champ.
Zar's always been that champion to have a go button. And if he gets ahead, he can just snowball out of existence. Especially if you put him in the jungle, he has so much avenue to play for any lane. And if you have a bit of a more mobile team comp, he's such a pain to play into as well. But I'm expecting here that maybe the Argus to be first picked up, because there's not right now, after the mids have been nerfed, the priority has changed quite a lot, and having Gadget and Gideon is not as high of priority as we saw yesterday. There we go. The Decker is being picked up first for the German team here.
And I think it was either important to remove either the Decker or the Gadget, because you don't want to let Canada having Zarus, Decker, and Gadget, which would have been an option for them, double cage with the Gadget. To be fair, when it comes to Blob in the mid lane, Blob is a notorious Grim player. He was playing Grim off lane in previous tournaments. So Blob really loved this weird pick. So I don't know if that was a traditional mage for him, but who knows. But here we're going to go for the Quang. So actually Quang being prioritized quite early over the Aura even. Aura kind of fell off a little bit of flavor, even though some teams still like it very much, because still a very disruptive pick. And here you still have a lot of option open. All the mid are open. Zarus can go in different direction. We decide to secure the Twin Blast very early. I think the idea between that Twin Blast pick is not so... First, Twin Blast is pretty good when you play on pink, because you have a lot of abilities with the grenade and things. So a lot of players, top carry, actually love the Twin Blast on pink, because it's not as dependent on the auto attack, which... In a sense, I think the carry role is the most impacted by ping overall. And also Rickster on the side of Germany Gold is a player that actually loves Twin Blast a lot. So kind of double gold through that pick here. And I think that's a very smart one. And we're going to follow up with the Argus. We don't want to let this opportunity of the Decker Ball into the Argus turn that we have seen working pretty well previously. And that Argus also is still a flex pick, because we know that Toasty also love Argus support. And so it can go to the mid lane, or the Super Troll, which keep option open also for the second part of the draft.
I think it was a really smart pick up there. You not only take away a really important potential tool in the kit there of Germany, but you also add to yourself a really great asset. Now Drongo going to be the counter lock here. Narbash is the immediate ban coming out from Germany. They've got a vision in mind. Let's see if they can execute.
And with that, like you mentioned, Argus used to be a predominant support pick. He kind of fell off from the mid lane and was pushed more towards the support just because he's an aggressive nature, and he's kind of plays the same way the Decker does, very aggressive and just fish for those stun. He has a very safe play style that is like easily rewarded. So I wouldn't be surprised if you, like Mugiwawa, you said there, that if he goes into that support role. But the question is, what do you want to pick for mid? Then you can go for that Grim, but playing Grim on a ping might not be the fun because you can really utilize that spell set to the full extent with that delayed reaction. But as we see now, the mid bank comes out from Canada here, so we'll see how they pivot towards the draft after this.
I think like when it comes to Germany gold, to be honest, like the gadget is still pretty good because you already have a cage, you have the tether from the Quang that is very good to set up that, and also you have the Tesla Dome to be able to answer Zarus that dive your own backline. So I feel like that could be like a good option, but we decided to opt for the Howitzer, a little bit more of aggressive pick, a little bit less of a reactive one, trying like to be able like to punish a little bit more. Also pretty good at just one-shotting like the Twin Blast. Though the Argus Dread Nova in the air is an option to stop like this Meki train. So I think I would slightly prefer the gadget, but here maybe Theosid prefer like the more aggressive picks through the Howitzer. We see that the Narbash has been banned. So because like Toasty is a very, very strong Narbash. And here we're going to go for the Sevarog Steel, which I wonder who is going to play him, but Team Canada, very used to play with a Sevarog. They know his strengths.
That's true.
And so they probably like, they love how it can create space and just like control objective in the later stage of the game. And also like Canada have kind of like a slow play style. They kind of grinding teams out, and Sevarog like thrive in this type of environment. You're kind of weak early, but at some point you become inevitable. So I guess that's why they love it usually, and they just like stick to their guns, even with like other type of players.
It's really interesting that even without Lauber, we're putting up that kind of legacy performance. This is a tribute. This is for you, Lauber. Going to be Iggy as that final lock-in, which is interesting. I mean, obviously, typically mid, so where's that Argus wander to in that case, Malix?
I'm locking in the support for the Argus, and I expect the Sevarog to go for the offlane. The question is like, will Janjan whip out the Kalar into Sevarog? I don't think it's like the best of it, but you can manage the early game, and then if you can start getting rotation off as Kalari, you can just pick up, and there we have it. The Kalari came out, the OTP. Janjan is going to show off the power that this character has.
And to be fair, I feel like the Kalari is still pretty strong against the enemy team, because the only real thing they have to peel the Kalari off is like the Argus Dread Nova. True, you can get like the Iggy like ultimate Inferno to push the Kalari away, but the Kalari already have done the damage at that point. So there is not a lot of like peeling in the backline, and you have like two very prime target with the Twin Blast, the Iggy, and also the Argus is pretty good to target. So I like the Kalari because she can still leave, and in a sense you also have like this idea of like Janjan, I think is the only player that becomes inevitable with Kalari even in the late game, so I guess it kind of works.
Just looking at the comps here, locked in for either side, what's the game plan either way? What are they ideally trying to accomplish to result with the W?
I would say the Canada, they kind of want to go for those set up that have that objective set up for the objectives, and just get them fast rolling with the Iggy. You have the turrets there and pick the fights. Let Sevarog kind of scale in, get a few stacks going, so he will become that monster late game. While I feel like the pick from Germany is more of a pick comp. They don't want to necessarily go for the 5v5. They would rather just try to get one or two picks here and then just create an advantage that way. So it's going to become a question of who can set up first and who can have the better vision game to get their comp going.
Yeah, I fully agree with Malix on the side of Germany Gold. We really have this pickup comp, a lot of mobility, Decker, Quang, Kalari. You kind of make your enemy guessing all the time, so you can get some pickup. While on the side of Canada, I think a big portion is that they will try to get priority around like the dual lane, thanks to the Argus Twin Blast, that will have to battle against a Decker Drongo. So it's not an easy task, but if they can get priority there, and in the mid lane, suddenly this Iggy can translate into the objective game. And if you force objective game with a Sevrog, a Zarus, like the Iggy, you force the 5v5 in the jungle, they should be like dominating. But if they expand the map large, suddenly like Germany Gold team comp is better. So it's each team are going to try to force the enemy team to play under their strengths, to not have to play under their weaknesses. And that's going to be like pretty tough ordeal for each side.
Eyes for that dual lane to see if it ends up receiving some early attention and love from our friends on Canada. Could just be the key. Guys, the die is set. The game is nearly ready. Just 5 words or less. Who do we favor?
I think Canada has the easier draft to execute, so I'm going to put my pockets in with them, but I wouldn't be surprised if Germany takes it home.
I'm going to put it like on Germany goal simply because I'm an EU fan, and it's always like nice to see some change in calorie.
Absolutely, but that being said, unbiased and objective as always, right, Moogie? Just like the wheel. Anyway, though, game 1 coming at you in just a bit. TJ, DJ, and Tang, bring it on.
Thank you so much, Dilo. Welcome everyone to the Caster's Desk to start off a Group C, the Group of Death. And honestly, Canada versus Germany Gold. This might be the matchup of the entire weekend, Tang. I'm looking forward to this one. I mean, we got some absolute stomps. Let's not beat about the bush there yesterday, but here, it's going to be a very spicy game.
Yeah, a very spicy game indeed. We do see spicy picks coming out as well, right? We probably are going to see the Kalari in the off lane, one of those things that we always associate with Germany, especially with Jan playing that one. And I think in general as well, like Germany has been given the sort of tier A title, right? Like not at the very top, but like almost there, right? And they were also the ones that got the most votes to get like to the next step as well. So they were actually pretty close. Like Canada is the favorite going into the game, but with the coin flip not being in their favor in terms of the server select, maybe Germany can still do some damage this time.
I mean, when you just look at the names across the Germany Gold roster, as Moogie, Dilo, and Malix were saying as well, especially to those of us here in EU, we're watching the Fang booths. We know these names. You know about Jan, Venom, Acid, Rickster, Llama. You know, they're definitely going to be feeling quite confident going into this one. But as you said, you know, you can't not kind of disrespect Canada here. Essentially, DLAB plus Blob here. Making it to PCC finals, I think about 3 times in a row now with 1 title to their name. You cannot count them out here. So, you know, we're expecting a lot of fireworks here. And I want to talk a little bit more maybe about this team Canada composition here, Tang, because honestly, this composition just feels like a complete throwback. It's like, hey, this is what worked for us in PCC. We're going to run it here.
Yeah, I think, but before we talk about the composition, I want to go back to the players as well, because you said DLAB, four of the members, 1 sub, but since Nations League requires 8 players per team, not only the strict 5 that you're going to need for 1 Predecessor game, we can see that in this game in particular, we have in that off lane, we do have a sub that is going to be, I think, Euphoric piloting that Sevrog, and in the jungle, oh, actually, I got it wrong around, but Tradelicious in that offlane role, and in the jungle role, we do have Euphoric. So it's not going to be the DLAB team that we have seen in the PCC. Instead, the Canada sort of roster is showing that they don't only have those strong players, but they also have the depth with even more sort of second bench players that you don't see in the PCC necessarily, but that can also hold their weight.
Oh, absolutely. And of course, being picked up for this team as well. And as you say, with the substitutions and with all of the subs having to get their games in, honestly, playing some of the more rotation players early on if you're expecting to go late. So, you know, when we get to semi-finals and finals, which I think is fair to say Team Canada might be in with a shot for here, just to have, you know, that full starting roster being able to field and not having to worry about throwing in a substitute just to make sure they get those games here. Just going back across the board, looking at the map state right now, seems we have a pretty standard start here for EU. Of course, no real action. We've just got some good warding coming down from the side of Germany Gold in towards Canada's territory here, but a lot of setting up across this river. No real moves here, mostly on the side lanes though. Llama and Tosi both playing those long-range stun engages which have been dominating here in the Nations League, and now pitted against each other, they're definitely feeling a lot of pain over here.
Yeah, just the stuns, that is what the supports are really strong at the moment. I think we saw in one of those England games with a Decker support, an Argus mid lane, and a Rampage in the jungle. That was just hard CC City, just stuns being thrown everywhere. This time the Argus and the Decker both having a lot of kill potential on the left-hand side, able to lock down anybody they see for a long time. But Blob in the mid lane might suffer the same fate. Venom is going in.
From the top ropes, looking for this Iggy and Scorch. Doesn't have a dash. Might need to expend the blink. He's going to try as much as he can. That's a great landmine. Good flash, but an even better R2000. Secures a first blood for the side of Germany Gold in the mid lane.
Yeah, and they get the first blood on Blob, even with the blink used, not able to get away. Just cooldowns held for such a long time and didn't flash the Howie boop in time, so he got knocked back out of his turret. And from that point on, it was just his fate being sealed. I think what I also want to mention though, DJ, like now that we got the action in the mid lane, I also want to highlight the Germany players a tiny bit, because we do see Janjan on the right-hand side. We did say before, he is sort of a Kalari one-trick pony. He is terrorizing the EU server with that pick over and over again. And he actually forced away Llama, one of the best German offlaners as well, because he usually plays that. Now in that offlane though, Drake-Lish.
Drake-Lish is the first target. Venom making the gank work. Going to burn the blinks. Not able to take Sevarog's life on our right-hand side, but already Janjan on that Kalari is a monster on the EU solo queue side here as well. And, of course, I mean, Llama, as you say, not being in the solo lane for this one here. So much, respect having to be given and so much priority over towards that right-hand side. You get the feeling, that Lorber, for Team Canada, definitely going to be a bit of a miss here. So, that right-hand side, definitely we're going to have to keep an eye on, see what Janjan can do.
Yeah, definitely. Not having Lorber in this game does hurt them quite a bit. Now mid lane again, Blob no blink is gonna get caught, just absolutely deleted. Janjan is gonna go to get that kill for himself, get the Kalari himself ahead. Now Euphoric getting chased out of his own jungle.
He's got to retreat through that red-hand side, but already Germany Gold getting off to a very proactive start. The rotation from left, and also Janjan pulling over from right-hand side to secure the kill for himself here. For Team Canada, though, let's say with the players and looking back towards PCC, they are no stranger to going being against it in the early game. I mean, if there was one team where you associate more with the late game team fight win and coming back into games and finding avenues to get there, it certainly would be this Canada team. But as you say, still Drake-Lish and also Euphoric. So it seems that they need to channel the spirit of DLAB here, as Germany Gold got to a pretty decent start.
Yes, especially highlighting your point just now, especially on the left-hand side, Lakenate and Toasty, not necessarily like the sort of dual lane that you expect to get the lead early. You expect them to always stay even, never fall behind, but then at 20 minutes, suddenly Lakenator gets a triple kill. Stuff like that happens to them every single time, that I don't believe it's a coincidence. Now on the dual lane, just trying to crash the wave, should be able to do that any second now, but the Venom is already back on that left-hand side, so they can't shove too much longer, because otherwise the Quang might make his way over, Llama being forced to blink away.
That Dread Nova combining with the Ether Crystal, going to force out Llama's blink. It's going to be the first one down for the side of Germany Gold. A potential avenue for the side of Euphoric to maybe look towards his left-hand side. And with neutral objectives on the board, of course, we saw Fangtooth spawning at the 5-minute mark, Mini Prime on the way. Maybe Germany Gold, this is what they're looking for. Then going for the gank, locks that tether on towards Toasty. The surge knock upstairs, that's a good blink from the Argus support. Gets them to safety here, but does give a little bit of a priority to the side of Germany Gold here. Tacid also thinking about the move over towards the left-hand side. This does give him an opportunity to start the Fangtooth here, but maybe Blub might just be the return gank, but Euphoric's on the scene as well. A potential 2v2, Euphoric jumping forward. Janjan's got his eyes only for Blub, though. Looks like he might be able to escape, but no, the death mark lives up to its name, and that's going to be the Iggy dropping once again. Euphoric having to blink away from Germany Gold, running the roost here. Now, Drake-Lish, what can they do on this Sevarog? But a 1 versus 3, the Sev is not at that point just yet in this game.
They're just playing around the mid lane. After getting that kill onto Blub earlier on, they can just leverage that advantage with Howitzer just having more strength in those isolated skirmishes, always winning those 2v2s, those 3v3s, and with Kalari always having first move as well on the off lane. They're just able to punish Team Canada for having sort of a bit of a slower team comp, right? We heard it on the desk before. They are just insane at those team fighting stages of the game, but before that, they are struggling a tiny bit in those smaller jungle skirmishes.
Just with that pressure being exerted on towards the mid lane, does seem Germany gold. That's what they are looking for, as it looks like we just got a little bit of a pause here on the live feed. I'm just going to get a bit of an update. Okay, no, we're back to normal. Everything's good. Everything's good. It's fine. Panic is over. Game number 1 will still carry on. Of this side here, but you know, with Germany gold, what do you rate about that gamepad right now? Heavy priority towards a Blub on this Iggy and Scorch.
I think that is one of the things that Germany gold does actually really well. Like, they've scrimmed a lot, and I think one thing that I can say for certain for them is that they always have a pretty decent game plan in the early game. They always get those leads. The only problem for them is sometimes they lose those leads towards the later stages of the game, especially towards those objective fights. And looking at Canada's comp, that is sort of fitting, because that is where Canada is going to be naturally really strong at, just looking at the composition, but also looking at the experience they bring to the game. With Toasty and Lakenator on that dual side, always knowing where to be, what to do, which lanes to impact. This is going to be a banger of the game, but if Germany just gets too far ahead in this early game, then even the best late game is not going to save them.
I absolutely love that dynamic that you bring up, Tang. It feels like with, of course, Germany gold, who say having the strength in the early game, just not being able to translate that sometimes into late game, and Canada with the slower start, but translating it into the team fighting here. It's going to look forward to Toasty, though, not looking forward to the attention on the left-hand side, as Ven does make the gank happen on the blinkless Toasty. They are able to punish, make it rain, comes out on the mid lane, looking towards Janjan rotates the guillotine from the maximum range, able to get the kill, but Euphoric wanting to turn this around. Colosseum drops, but Janjan just simply laughs in the face of your walls, a double jump, and now Euphoric might have pissed off a bit more than he can chew, walking into the blender that is Team Germany gold. Dracolicious, good, colossal blow, but Tassid is there, and Rixter's able to provide the damage. Severok drops, so does the Zarus. This Fangtooth is going to be the first start for Germany gold.
Yeah, this Kalari player, some call him Janjan, I call him that guy, because he just makes the rotation, makes it happen, punishes Blub again. Honestly, Iggy can't do anything against it. That Kalari just presses his 2 buttons on him, the 2 favorite buttons that he has, the Death Mark and the Guillotine, and just secures the team fight for Germany. Now, Fangtooth also being claimed. That is the first one of the game. Only it's 10 minutes, not the earliest one, but also 7 kills deep, no kills so far for Canada.
See, maybe where they can have that opportunity. I mean, you know, Des highlighted the go buttons that they have with Euphoric on that Zarus here. Seems that Zarus pick might be a little bit of a poison chalice. We've just not been seeing the impact from the Zarus, especially this weekend here on 1.0. I mean, the only real change that Zarus got was just the increased cooldown to his ultimate here. Aside from that, it's the exact same character, exact same menace in these in the top tier here of Predecessor, but just not quite working out for now.
And I think that Germany Gold has recognized it, that Zarus is not that strong. Like, I've seen the scrims and they never pick him fast. They always like keep him open until like 2nd rotation, 3rd rotation before they do pick him up. I think Zarus nerfs in general did happen a bit before this patch. So Zarus is not as strong as he used to be, especially on that off lane. Doesn't win most of those matchups anymore that he used to win. But the strength for Zarus is just in that late game, just able to lock down one fat, squishy character in the enemy team. If you have an ADC player that you're worried about, if you pick up the Zarus, he is going to be able to lock him down, has to use the blink to disengage, otherwise that Zarus will always find value in those team fights.
It's definitely going to have to be careful here on that ADC role, going up against Lakenator and Toasty. And as you said, you know, again against an ADC like Lakenator today, it just feels like, you know, he's sitting on 3 goose eggs, and all of a sudden, bang, you 7-0-2, 4 items deep into his build, just in the blink of an eye. Can be kind of crazy here, but having a little look across the map here, Mini Prime going to be started up by the side of Germany Gold, utilizing Janjan's priority over on the right-hand side. Most likely, I'm going to expect that Mini Prime to probably be given over towards Janjan. I mean, Tassid just roving through the river just to make sure this is going to be clear, and Janjan does get the Mini Prime donated over to him.
Does not only get the mini prime in, but might also catch onto Sevarog. That is a bit out of position there. Venom on top of him. So is Kalari. Is gonna blink after him. Deathmark collects the kill with Venom's help. And that is an easy secure for Venom.
Trakalicious just made the mistake of just ghosting through the river on the right-hand side and just got picked off there. Ven on this jungle pick, one of the top junglers that we have in EU next to Import, certainly leaving their mark here in game number 1 of the group stages here in the group of death against Canada. And also when you've also got the Netherlands in this matchup as well. There's a lot to look forward to here as well. Germany Gold definitely wanting to make sure that they are, putting their name up for being that top tier team. As you said, denied the first kind of pot seed for the group draw, and they want to make sure that that was a mistake. And honestly, with how they are playing right now, it certainly seems that way.
Yeah, you highlighted Netherlands and Russia being in this group as well. This is Group C, the first group that we are seeing today. And honestly, watching those two higher seed teams play, suddenly Germany Gold comes out swinging 8-0, already having the 2 objective advantages as well. It's gonna mean that Netherlands and Russia, they have to beat either one of these teams at the very least. And if sort of the lower seed team of those two is already playing like this, then it might just be a really hard uphill battle to get out of the group that you so fittingly dubbed the group of death. But yeah, Canada not out yet either. Is a bit on the back foot, but we highlighted it before. One team fight can change everything.
Euphoric wants to make that team fight happen, but look at the damage that Janjan pops out. Euphoric's is not going to be on the map for much longer. Janjan thrown in towards the tower by the colossal blow. Trakalicious making that rotation, but a good blink to get away. Can't overstep too much. Ven just waiting behind that cliff on the left-hand side. Getting the damage down onto Trakalicious. No blink available on the Sevarog. Does the 180 subject gate. Maybe able to get away, but the death marker dagger is all Janjan needs. And Toasty thrown into the mixer once again. Another landmine from Teazi Towers. So Janjan has moved through the red side jungle. A good sidestep from Toasty. Dodges out a certain death from this Kalari. Mid lane tier 1 is going to fall, and there is nothing Canada could do about it.
Absolutely nothing. Just have to watch as the first tier 1 in the mid lane gets claimed for Germany. Now, the rotations are towards the Fangtooth, but we did not see that cool animation from Lillibah yet, so we know the Fangtooth has not spawned yet. The second Fangtooth of the game, it should spawn any minute now though, so we can already see that both teams try to get the vision down around it, try to get some important cooldowns maybe as well. Euphoric though, as I mentioned before, on the vision, with the vision coverage coming out from the rest of Germany, they're gonna instantly start up Fangtooth, but this one is not gonna go easy.
They've already got the Iggy turrets down. They already have the setup. Toasty's trying to zone away, but Toasty's not on a tank. Toasty is toast in front of that pit, and Germany Gold back away from the Fangtooth. They're looking for the exit frags. Blub is still stuck in between his turrets, trying to get as much damage out as he can, but Germany Gold say thank you for the leash, my friends, picking up 3 kills outside of the Fangtooth pit and taking the neutral objective for themselves.
So 3 kills given over to Germany. They also got the Fangtooth, but on the plus side, on the right-hand side, we saw Sevarog split push in that tier 1. Wait. Oh, making it also forced. Make it 4 kills, why not? Maybe even the turret now as well. Sevarog on the right-hand side, still trying to get the tier 1 down, but you are a Sevarog that is going to take you ages. And we see Howitzer also being there, trying to collect that last kill, make it a delayed pentakill, or a delayed ace. Acid is going to claim that one. So with that, Germany 15-0, all tier 1s down already.
They are certainly on the hunt here, and they are currently on track for that perfect game here, to not drop a single tier 1 turret, to not drop a neutral objective as well. But of course, Canada, it is team, you cannot count them out just yet here. But you said right at the start, Tang, that sure, Canada can play it a bit slow, and they can potentially come back with the late game team fight here, as long as Germany Gold doesn't pull ahead too much. I'm looking at 15 kills to 0. I'm seeing 2 level leads in the mid lane, 3 levels on Ven over Euphoric on that jungle matchup as well. Janjan's ahead. This dual lane is ahead as well. It's certainly looking dire for Canada.
Yeah, it definitely is. Blub in the mid lane as well. 0-5-0 on that Iggy. Has been sort of the recipient of a lot of those ganks. Janjan always linking up together with Venom, looking for that Iggy that just has no inherent escape options, not really able to buy any space against those assassins that Germany have drafted for himself. And now again, in the mid lane, Jan is looking.
Blob is just going to use that Inferno to boop away Jan, but just combined with the Iron Strike, with the Stasis Bomb, Jan can't find the Guillotine, can't find that Death Mark proc. So Blob, for the first time this game, will be able to walk away from a gank attempt with his life intact. But already Germany goal, what do they do with it? Push out the mid, wards down in the red side jungle, then looking over towards Trackalicious on that right-hand side, who immediately does respect this. Team Canada not wanting to be picked off here. It's Germany Gold pulling all of the strings in this game, fully in control of this one. Just how do they keep that lead ahead? Well, honestly, just keep killing these members of Canada over and over again.
And we can see the ward coverage coming in on that red side jungle as well. They don't want to give Euphoric anything on that Saras. Just want to make sure that they can always clear those jungle camps themselves, not give the Saras any way back into the game. Now also, Mini Prime being claimed 18 minutes in the game. That is going to be the second one for themselves. Jan is going to pick that up on that Kalari again. And honestly, for Germany, it looks like they're just waiting for the 20-minute mark for that big Prime to spawn. Also waiting for the third Fangtooth to appear as well, so they can try to close this game out already, because at the moment, you said it before, TJ, this is looking like a flawless game.
For now, we're still about 1 minute and 10 seconds away from that All Prime spawn, and Canada grouping up. Euphoric throws out the Colosseum, looking towards Acid, goes into the Make It Rain, a lot of damage on towards that backline. Euphoric trying to tank up the damage as Ven goes for the blink play onto the backline, gets Lakeinator picked off, and now also taking down Toasty. And wait, where did the rest of Team Canada go? On the offset, it's only Trackalicious left as Germany Gold pick up 4 more kills, and they make it look so easy.
Yeah, we're gonna call them wizards from this point onwards, because one magic trick and Canada is gone. Jan in the backline, so is the Venom, just blinking onto Lakeinator that has not had any chance to hit those health bars, with Germany always being the ones proactive. Like there we could see the Saras Euphoric trying to catch onto their seat, but buying so much space with a good Howie Boop, with that Make It Rain as well, just buying himself enough space for the rest of his players to make their way over, and then just absolutely stomp the team fight. 4 easy kills again for Germany, 19-0, and Canada have yet to get on the board.
Really haven't had anything going for them when you look across the board, as that All Prime is going to drop again. I respect Canada for going for the attempt. You know, you're jumping in with that Colosseum. But Germany Gold just kind of shrug off the engage here. And I also really like how Tacit actually played that as well, getting the Make It Rain damage onto the backline to enable Ven to go for the audacious blink into the Quang Fury of the Heavens and just makes Lakeinator vanish here. On the right-hand side, All Prime going to be the target here. But looking also at the minimap, there is going to be the third Fangtooth objective, with Germany Gold also want to take. So I am seeing Lakeinator currently caught out on his lonesome, does not have Toasty with him. And with the Twin Blast dropping 20th kill for the side of Germany Gold, with this advantage here, it looks like they're going to start up that third Fangtooth, get themselves the free Fangtooth win condition. It's not like they needed any more win conditions, as it turns out. I'm struggling to see what Canada, again, really do about it.
Yeah, mid lane, Acid is also gonna get himself to safety with a good boop. But I think Canada's thought process was that they're just gonna give up that prime for the sort of tower on the left-hand side, but instead Lakeinator gets caught. Germany does not take the bait, don't start the prime, but instead go for the Fangtooth, claim the Lakeinator kill, claim the Sevarog kill. That guy was supposed to be tanky, but nothing of that being seen so far. Only 2 items deep against the almost 4-item ADC means that you are just gonna get deleted. Now Big Prime started up, Blab and Toasty in the vicinity.
See what Toasty could do. He's going to jump up the Dreadnova into the pit, trying to get the stun. It's only going to be his death. That would have been quite the audacious miracle play coming out, but All Prime secured by Germany Gold, and they're going to be looked to be routed out of their red side jungle. Jan leading the charge. Blood throws down that ultimate Euphoric with the Colosseum, but Llama just blinks away. Germany Gold have so much ability to escape and so much ability to jump on any member of Team Canada who dares to walk into their own red side jungle. That's Blob down. Lakenator's down as well. And it looks like Germany Gold going to take down the last remaining towers and look towards the inhibitor mark that make it rain on towards Euphoric's Parade. Just adds insult to injury by the side of Germany Gold. 25 kills to 0. These inhibitors, they're not going to last long.
They're not gonna last long at all. Toast, he tries his best, is just gonna jump in, trying to clear the wave, but he's only gonna clear his own grave. Now Germany is gonna push down the core. Nobody's up to defend, and this one will be Germany's game to take.
27 kill, no kills given up, no towers lost, no neutral objectives taken as well. Germany Gold, the second pod team, getting a perfect game over the top number one pot team in Team Canada here as well. And if I am Team Netherlands right now, looking at the results of this game, Team Canada, they could be up for the taking in this group of death.
Yeah, I think nothing against Russia, of course, but like I think between those 4 teams in the Group C that we are watching today, I think it's definitely gonna be Canada, Germany, the 2 favorites. And then Netherlands also being there, trying to steal a spot away from those 2. But with Canada having sort of a really, like, I can't really sugarcoat it because it's just impossible. This was a flawless game. With them getting stomped by Germany in this game, yes, it was on ping. Yes, they used their subs already. But it gives a sign to Netherlands that those teams are very beatable. They are very beatable. And that will be the mindset that Netherlands is going to use when they end up facing off against these teams.
So still for towards Team Canada, as you said, using their substitutes early to enable them to play with their starting roster a little bit more often, not having to fall to the rule set, of having to make sure you get those substitutes played here. But we saw what happened there, with even with 2 changes, Germany Gold coming out swinging, Jan having a fantastic game. I mean, I think everyone there had the moments. Of course, in the game, that one-sided, of course, Germany Gold able to play with a lot more freedom in this game as well. I mean, Tang, which of the Germany Gold members impressed you the most?
I think the jungler was really good. I think the offlaner was really good. I think the dual lane was really good. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say.
All right, there are the words from Tang. That's gonna be everything from us here on the casting desk. We're gonna throw it back to Dilo with Malix and Mugiwara for a little bit of the post-game breakdown.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the post-wrap desk. My God, Germany Gold takes the dub. Dirty Lake and the Blub were unfortunately a flub. I think Germany Gold got mixed up, man. They thought the Geneva Conventions were a to-do list or something like that. I don't know. They were just crossing those things off. 26-0. Disgusting. Malix, Mugi, your thoughts?
I mean, it was a perfect game. Like yesterday, we had the fastest game. Today, we had a perfect game. I don't think they dropped a single tower. They didn't drop a single kill. They didn't drop a single objective. I mean, they got away with murder. I feel like Ven, Assad, and Jan were just controlling the early game so well, and just got I think Ven had almost close to 78% win kill participation, which shows that wherever he went, he had an impact. And then just focusing Blob in the beginning was so detrimental to the win as well.
Yeah. Oh, Mugi is silent. Mugi doesn't even have words for how impressive that game was.
It was crazy. It was crazy. But yeah, like I said, watching Kalari Jan, it's always like a treat, and I wasn't lying when I said that. But what really impressed me the most is you can see those players at a higher level because just how they planned their gank. They had the team that needed to snowball, and they did it perfectly. When you see Ven going for a gank, most people are always crying, they just go Judgment for Even, Surge of the Even, we get the knock up, damage, and the opponent flash away. Ven, he comes, he starts to auto-attack you with the sword, use a little bit of damage, lot of the Even, and we keep the landmine, we keep the Judgment, we keep the Surge, to the point that when you're 1 HP, you're forced to flash away, and then we kill you while taking your flash as well. So then we can snowball because you don't have flash. And they keep doing that time and time and time again. They don't waste their ability. They Tang was mentioning, they're super strong at their early game, and here it just snowballed way too fast for the enemy team, and then it's just people were just exploding, and Canada never got the chance.
Like y'all both said, they don't waste their resources. They, in fact, waste their opponent's resources. Give them a false sense of security. Blub seems like they got out. Deathmark. You're done, Ski. You're dead. Crazy stuff. And it's not like we didn't predict this. You guys talked about the fact at the desk that their draft was meant to have a slow start, slowly and gradually pick up steam come late game. Late game never came.
The late game never came for them, and they at one point the SARS ulti was more of a case for them than for the enemy. It's like, okay, I'm not stuck here with you, you're stuck here with me for like whenever they get ulted. And that is, you hate to see, because that means your champion is pretty much nullified completely. And then Iggy, he sucks at walking in. He has to have setup, and if you can't get setup, you can't really do anything with the champion either. So they had to play on the back foot, and they had no way of really coming back because they just keep dying and they're getting outplayed. It was just like clean showing all in all.
And we have seen like a little bit of Janjan's calorie stat, like 1,300 games played. But what impressed me the most was like his KDA, like an average of 8 kills per game for only 2 deaths. Like that's just insane. The man is a magician on the pick. And one thing that I also like really loved about what Germany Gold has done in that match is that they understood the comp. Like I remember first Fangtus, like they don't go for the Fangtus, they go for the pickup. And once we get the pickup, we can go for the Fangtus because they understand they couldn't fight in the Fangtus pit with their comp. Like we mentioned it during like before the game. And that's something that is very important as a team, is you understand what your team is good at, what your team is weak at, and don't like play in your weak position and just play towards your strengths. And Germany Gold does that perfectly, using the calorie rotation towards the mid lane to make like the Life of Blood like unplayable. And suddenly like everything collapsed as soon as they were like too far back under the tower, and the tower was not even enough to protect them.
We said it at the drafting board, Germany had a vision and they executed it. Canada didn't, and they were executed. Unfortunate to see there, but congrats to Germany on a beautiful performance there. You can't ask for better than that. But don't you worry, if you're looking for more games, we got them.